G'day, it's Greg from the Investor Hub again. In the last instalment, we talked about investing in mining towns, some of the pros and cons around that. I'd like to follow that up with a bit of a chat about core qualities for regional hotspots. There are a few things that we'd like to see in a regional hotspot, or in a regional area that are going to identify a hotspot potentially. We want to see a strong commercial and industrial business base. That's really key. It's got to be a diversified business base. We'd like to see links to a major resources province, so it's got to be within QE of somewhere that's dragging stuff out of the ground. We need to see an export port facility, or certainly the development thereof, because that means being in proximity to that resources area and having port facilities means we can get the stuff out, which makes it a key hub really. An established population base. There are some sort of question marks around what the critical mass is, but I'll come up with a few in a minute, which are some examples. We want to see an affordable housing price base. So in some places in Western Australia, it costs $1 million for a house, and that's not what we're talking about when we're saying an affordable housing price base. We want it to be, in the early stages of the upswing cycle. And we want to see identifiable growth drivers. So it's areas where there's going to be continued growth and there are plenty of reasons for it to continue growing. Our research has identified a few areas in New South Wales and Queensland that appear to be go-ahead areas right now. Firstly, the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. This is very close to home for me. There are really strong mining economies like Muswellbrook and Singleton. But the areas that may grow more consistently are those areas that are close to the freeway links between Sydney and the Hunter Valley and a lot of the infrastructure that's happening there. This is going to open up transport links to the mines and to the suburbs of Newcastle. And towns like Maitland and Kurri Kurri and Cessnock have some really sound growth drivers and diversified economies that look very enticing from an investment perspective. In Queensland, Rockhampton has a population base in excess of 110,000. It's close to the regional export hub of Gladstone, which has been a real success story. And it really is the administrative centre of central Queensland, and it has its own port facility as well. It's more affordable than Gladstone, as I say, which has really been the success story of central Queensland. And it has a very low vacancy rate and reasonably high rental yields. There's plenty of good indicators there. Mackay also has a large population base, about 90,000 people. Property is affordable and there's plenty of mining activity as well as port facilities, and it ticks lots of boxes as well. The other centre in Queensland is Toowoomba. It's a bit of a sleeper market, but like Rockhampton, it's close to Brisbane, but also lies at the foot of the Surat Basin, so it's expected to become a major administrative hub in that region, driving rental yields and price growth. And of course, Townsville remains a very strong regional market as well. It's a very diversified economy with sound long-term potential. So, just going back to the key drivers, we're looking for strong commercial industrial base. We're looking for links to a major resources province, export port facilities, established population base, affordable housing price base, and identifiable growth drivers. They're the key things. Now, some of these areas that I've mentioned tick a lot of those boxes, and there's some pretty exciting prospects in some of those areas coming ahead. So if you're looking for some opportunities in those areas, please give me a call and I can put you in touch with the right people.